Good evening once again. Welcome back to the man cave, brother Jeff. How's Orlando?
Hot and humid.
It's been a while since we've been online.
Yep.
I've had a sabbatical and a reboot. Been been taking a little time to myself and not doing as much cooking lately as I've been doing in the past. Got mom through another shoulder surgery a while back. She's recovering from that. Uh, so I've been thinking about this live stream. Once again, I miss it. I miss doing it. I know we don't have much of a following, don't have a big audience, but I've enjoyed doing it. So I think we might pick it back up and see if we can make it run again. Uh, I haven't decided yet whether or not it's going to remain on Thursday nights. It's probably not. I'm leaning heavily towards doing it on Monday since, like I said, we don't. The typical night here we have 20 to 25 people, and that number was kind of decreasing as we went. We're not picking up any additional, so I'm not real worried about what night of the week we do it on anymore. We'll figure that out. But I want to make a I want to make an effort to get some guests, get some intriguing guests online with us. So anyway, tonight I'm just going to have bourbon. I'm going to get into this bottle of Southern Star Paragon. This is a locally distilled wheated bourbon that's comes out of Statesville, North Carolina, which is about 40 miles east of me. And I'm able to go to the distillery and buy this. This is a cask strength wheated bourbon, really good. This is my third bottle of this one. I've had two prior to this one, and they're just great. They're really good. If you ever see a bottle of that, I highly recommend picking it up. I don't know where all it's available, but Jeff and I were just talking briefly about this before we started. Jeff likes Weller, and Jeff's got a bottle. Or you still have some of that Weller, Jeff? You said, is it
It's a
gone?
dead soldier. Bless its
Okay,
heart.
Jeff Weller 107, and that's a unicorn bottle. They're hard to come by. I've never had my hands on one, but not having tasted it, uh, this guy right here, I think, is probably in the same league with that.
Did I
I'll
not
have,
send you a sample of that, John? The Willer?
uh,
I thought I did.
I don't remember if you did or not. You may have.
But
I
that's
don't
the
remember.
only really bottle that I've had that you haven't had. So I'm pretty sure I sent you.
Yeah, then I've tasted it. Oh boy, yeah, this stuff has a beautiful sweet aroma to it. It's really nice. So cheers. What are you having tonight?
Take a guess.
Eagle Rare.
Gotcha.
Jeff's got enough Eagle Rare to last him a week or two.
Or three.
Let's see here. Let me move over to the comments window, see who we got hanging out here with us tonight. Hank, Voter over on YouTube, Brian, Carl, Andrew, Brian, another Brian. Oh no, that's Brian Miller, still Brian from YouTube. Hank, Scott, yeah, Ryan Lowry. Ryan, glad you could be with us tonight. If you're on with us and having a drink with us, leave me a comment. Let me know what you're drinking and where you are. Andrew says he's jealous, Jeff. He's got one
Hey,
bottle.
I thank my wife for that.
Yeah,
She made the call on our way back from Atlanta, going through Macon, and who would have thought if I can't get it in Atlanta and I can't get it in Nashville and I can't get it in Kentucky, who would think you could get it in Macon? Much less a single bottle, but a case.
it pops up sometimes.
I tell you.
It does. Sean, glad you could be with us tonight. Yeah, I was just we were just talking. I don't know what I'm going to do. my subscription for this live stream software expires in next month sometime. I'm going to renew it, I think, but I'm going to renew it at a little bit less expensive level than I had it going at the past to keep my costs down a little bit. I'm going to go from a $300 a year package to a $200 a year package. This software is not free. They have a free version of this. I could do this StreamYard for free. I just couldn't do it the way I'd like to do it for free. And plus, it has the StreamYard logo showing when you're using their free version, and I'm limited. I can't remember what all the limitations are, but there were some limitations that didn't suit me on the free version. So uh, ultimately, in a best case scenario, I would stream directly through Facebook. But let me tell you, Facebook's streaming, if you want to do streaming other than with a friggin' telephone, it's a pain in the butt to use. It's not easy. If you want to use a webcam or a video camera to do your streaming, Facebook makes it kind of difficult for you. They're not nearly as advanced as StreamYard. The problem is when you use StreamYard, that's a third-party application, and Facebook. What's the term I'm looking for here, Jeff? They stifle third-party stuff. It's just like when you post a YouTube link on Facebook, they're not going to show it to anybody. If I post Man Cave Meals, if I post a YouTube link on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page, very few people see it. It doesn't automatically pop up for anybody in their feed when I do that. The only people that see it are the people that come to the Man Cave Meals page. It's kind of the same way with this. When I post these links for these live streams, Facebook doesn't show those to people. Or if they do, they only show them to a few people. If I did it with Facebook, they'd show it to a lot more people, but I hate the Facebook platform. It's ugly, it's tedious, and it doesn't work as well as this. So, let's see. Andrew's not drinking tonight. He said he's traveling. Jeffrey, I've been on a sabbatical. I had decided that I wasn't going to make any more video. I've gotten to the point where I don't really want to do cooking videos anymore. I don't know what I want to do. I do know that I want to make, I would be interested in making product demo videos, and I think I'm going to do some of that. I may make some product demo and review stuff in the barbecue and grilling world, but I think for the most part, I'm done making cooking videos. I've made a lot of them. I've been doing it for a while, and I think I'm probably experiencing burnout more than anything. What do you think, Jeff? Am I burned out?
Well, 700 plus videos, I would say that's probably knocking on the door of being, burned out for new ideas. That's
Yeah.
why
Well,
when I look
you.
at doing videos, I'm going, okay, what kind of videos can I do that John hasn't done or anybody else hasn't done? I'm going, it ain't worth it. I'm just going to post cooks.
Yeah. Well, right before I quit doing videos, I did get my playlist updated, and the problem with my videos are they're spread across 3 different YouTube channels. They're on the Man Cave Meals channel, they're on the Kamado Joe channel, and they're on the Atlanta Grill Company channel. But I have made playlists in my on the Man Cave Meals YouTube channel that include all of those videos by category, and any of those given playlists will have videos from all 3 places in it, like the beef. There's a playlist called Beef that's got all the beef cooks in it. There's a product demo video playlist. It's got all that stuff. There's pork. There's bread and pizza. There's sides, seafood. This other stuff. It's all broken down by category in there, and I'm just there's still I'm not out of ideas. It's not that. I, there are things that I haven't done that I'd still like to do, but during the last couple months here, I've gotten real spoiled on cooking without making video. the cooking's a lot more enjoyable when I'm not having to make video. Uh, I've cooked a lot more uh, because I wasn't making video, and on a lot of the stuff I've done, I haven't even bothered to take pictures. I've just been cooking, and getting back to that's been kind of refreshing. It's it's been fun. I've done a lot of cool stuff. Um,
So speaking of cooking, I tell you what, that carbon steel wok from Kamado Joe,
mhm.
I have used the heck out of that thing.
Yeah, I've been watching your stuff. That's I haven't seen it yet firsthand. I don't know that I ever will because I'm not. I don't think I'm going to buy one. I've got a wok here that I love, and I bought it not knowing that the carbon steel wok from Kamado Joe was coming. But I'm I've done a good bit of cooking with this new wok that I've bought, and I really do like it. It's a little smaller than the that Kamado Joe wok's large. It's a lot larger than the wok that I bought. I think mine's a 14 or 15-inch wok, and the KJ wok's 16 plus inches, isn't it, Jeff?
I think it's about that. I mean, it fits great on the classic. You
Yeah,
got room to spare. The only thing I said that I wish KJ would come out with is a vortex to set that
right.
thing on because you do need to
Yeah,
use a glove.
you and I have had that conversation. That's the one thing I don't like about wok cooking on the Kamado Joe, and I have somewhere around here. I'm not sure where it may be stuffed away in storage. I still have the Kamado Joe cast iron wok, and when I got that thing, I think I did two cooking videos on it, and I put it away, and I never cooked on it again. Uh, the the I don't know. I'm not what I would call an experienced wok cook. I've done more wok cooking in the last 6 months than I've done in my entire life, probably. Because when I bought that new wok, I told myself I was going to learn how to use it, and I have. But I cook over a propane burner, and this uh hang on, let me pull something up here. I got something I can show us somewhere here. Uh, Let me see if I can find it. It's on my. Here we go. Uh, this won't have any sound with it. Let me share a window here. Uh, let's see this video right here. This this is a little short video I made of a little cook I did on this wok that I have on the sidekick burner on the Camp Chef Woodwind. This is just some beef. This is some sirloin that I did, and you just run that burner wide open. You run that 30,000 BTU burner as hot as it'll go, and have all your prep done. And this is a 5 minute cook, if even that long. I par cooked the beef, then I put some more oil in, and I had some veggies here that were seasoned and salted, and I put a little mixture of avocado oil and sesame oil in there with that to give it a little flavor, give it a nice little flavor. Then put the beef back in, and I here in just a second I've got a homemade stir fry sauce coming up. Actually, there we're drizzling in a little bit more sesame oil, and I finished it off with a homemade stir fry sauce that's got soy and a few other things in it. Here we go. We're drizzling some of that in there just long enough to toss the stuff in it and get it hot. And then it comes off. And like I said, it's a 5 minute cook. I really do enjoy those fast cooks. I spend more time doing prep than I do actually cooking with stuff like that. So it's quick.
Yep.
Um, I like that kind of cook, but to do the wok cook, you got to have everything prepped and ready to go before you turn the burner on. But that I can't remember the brand name of that wok that I bought. It's but it's a hand hammered. It's a round bottom wok. I don't know if you noticed in that little video. I've got a wok ring that I set that on the burner because I did want the rounded bottom. Is the bottom on the Kamado Joe wok flat or is it rounded?
It's rounded.
Is it?
Yeah.
So what? You have to set it in the accessory rack.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was flat or rounded.
No, I set it in the. I used the connected Joe, and I
Right.
just set the. You got the three pre-selects on the connected Joe, and I just use the Joe Dojo, which
Yeah.
allows you to have the lid open.
Hmm.
Somebody just shut my light off, and I tell you what, man, that thing is flame on. Let me tell you.
Right. I was curious about what the. I'm more intrigued by the griddle than I am the
Oh, the
wok.
griddle is great too.
Um, I think the griddle might actually work well on the pellet, Joe.
Yeah, it
I
would.
don't know for sure, but it's
I talked Logan into buying the wok. He wasn't ready to part money with the griddle yet. He had the
yeah,
cast iron one. I tell you what, if it's a choice of, a lot of people buy one of the cast iron half moons, and then they go, gee, I should buy two of them.
right.
And if you're in that boat where you're thinking about maybe buying one, you really need to consider that griddle. It's really nice.
Yeah, they're expensive. They're pricey. I think the griddle's $200, isn't it? And
Yeah, I think so.
I think the
But
wok's
when you look at I think it's better than the cast iron griddle. Um, I mean,
yeah.
that thing is a beast.
But my problem with the wok cooking on the Kamado is the heat
Yeah.
because the way I like to wok cook, like I said, with that 30,000 BTU burner, I've got that guy going wide open, but it's only creating a heat spot, 6 inches in diameter, and it's directly under the pan. When I was cooking with the wok on the Kamado Joe, I had to wear a glove before I reached over the edge of that grill because to get that thing hot enough to do what it's supposed to do, you've got blaze and heat coming around the outside edge of that thing, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like
That's
having
why
to wear the glove to do the cooking. And
a nice vortex would be good on that thing just to
yeah, something that would
tame that
concentrate the
down.
heat. Stephen Hickey was talking about that. He had he had suggested something like that. But you can use a vortex in the Kamado. There's a I've seen people do it. Uh,
Oh, the other thing you can
but
do is
still, even if
use the
you do,
chimney.
you're going to have this much space between the top edge of the vortex and your bottom of
Mm.
your pan, which is okay, but it'd be better if it was right up on it. Uh,
Well, that's why I say a full chimney.
yeah. Well, for all that that's worth is a chimney itself would be a better wok cooking surface than the Kamado Joe. Uh,
Yep.
you could set the wok right on top of the chimney. I've seen people sear steaks on a chimney. When you've got that charcoal chimney 10 inches deep, full of lump charcoal, you have a radiant heat source there that is crazy hot.
Yep. Cindy's got a question about the connected Joe. If the electronics stop working, can you change them out yourself? And if they go out, can you do all of it? Yes, Cindy. Cindy, the thing works just like a regular Kamado Joe in manual mode, if that's what you want to do. If the electronics goes out, it's two screws in the front. Undo those. The plate comes off. Unplug. Just got a little plug in the back. Unplug, and you plug a new one in. Screw it back in, and you're ready to go. They really improved. For those of you who have the pellet Joe, if you know, everything in the pellet Joe is inside the bottom base. So if you have to do anything, you're taking the top ceramics off to get to the bottom. The connected Joe, they redesigned that, and it's far superior. Matter of fact, I would be a bit surprised if they don't come and redesign the pellet Joe using the same
Well, it needs to be
feature.
because the pellet Joe has nothing that is user serviceable in my opinion.
For the
If
average
anything goes
person, you're
wrong,
absolutely right.
if anything goes wrong with the pellet Joe, you're dead. You're dead in the water. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not user serviceable, but during the beta, I ran into problems with mine. Uh, you're very likely to damage something taking it apart and putting it back together.
The main thing that you're probably going to damage is your Wi-Fi wire because it's a very
Yeah,
thin wire running back to that antenna. And
right.
when you take and you prop that base up, if it slips, it's going to pop that wire because I had to resolder mine on. So I mean,
Well, my Wi-Fi is not working on mine. My Wi-Fi is dead on my pellet Joe. I have not been able since I decided to keep the thing and try to bring it back to life. I haven't been able to get it to connect to Wi-Fi. I can still run it manually, run it with, and that's the way I do it. I don't normally run it with Wi-Fi, but I was just trying to get it set back up so I could say, yeah, it works, but it doesn't. Uh, Mine's dead. Sometimes it can see the Wi-Fi network here at the house, and sometimes it can't. So it's really weird. And even when it can see it, it can't connect to it. It can't connect to the network for some reason or another. I've given up on trying to make it work, but I
well,
may
I just
find.
you know
Say,
I just had to replace my mesh system here. When I got the connected Joe, it wouldn't connect,
mhm.
and I'm going, huh? Everything else connects. And then I started getting some dropping, and then I figured out I ran some network tests, and I go, oh, okay, the mesh is going out on me.
Well,
So I replaced it,
I
and
don't have any
boom, it went.
connectivity problems here. Back when it's been several years back, I upgraded our house Wi-Fi to the Linksys Velop, which is a true mesh system, and
Yep.
I've not had any connectivity problems anywhere since. The only thing I have that can't connect to the network anywhere on my property is that grill.
Yeah. How many years old is that? Is your Velop system now, John?
I'm guessing it's about 4 years old now.
Yeah. Be prepared if it's anything like mine. You may start dropping connections. If you do, it's time to
Well,
replace it.
if I have to replace it, I'm not replacing it with another one like it. After my dad passed away, I was upgrading some Wi-Fi at my mom's house because my mom's house is all basically one level and it's wide, and their Wi-Fi router's on one end of the house, and at the other end of the house, the signal's not very good. So Stephen Hickey recommended that TP Link. I
Hmm.
think it's what it was. I can't
Yeah,
remember for sure.
you get that free with if you go with the AT&T. What is it? 10 gigabit service or 5 gigabit service? They give it to you for free.
Yeah, well, that thing, I put a one of those 3 node systems in at my mom's house, and everything's working crazy and that's working real well. And that that setup was about a third of the price of what I paid for this Linksys. So, uh, but yeah, I've been rebooting. I've been trying to reevaluate what I want to do in the world of barbecue and grilling, and the main conclusion I've come up to is the answer is just not much. I don't want to do a whole lot.
And,
I'm
and
gonna,
John, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
yeah,
I find it, like you said, the videos, I find it far more relaxing just shooting
yeah,
a couple pictures and throwing them out there, with what I did. And
yeah.
I can do that after the cook. I don't have to worry about messing
Well,
around and
I
trying to
definitely,
time things.
I'm going to do some of that because when I post on the Man Cave Meals Facebook page a cook with pictures, I get far more feedback and far more user interaction on pictures in a write up than I ever do with video. Nobody's
Definitely
watching
agree
the
with you.
videos anymore. The
Because, I
nobody's
tried to
watching.
get into the videos, as you know, I was trying to do some videos. Videos were not getting anywhere near the viewing that the other posts were getting. So I just said,
But
well, that's
I
wasting
do
my
want to
time.
I do want to do product demos, product demo videos, and I'm going to work on some of that. I've got a, I've got a toy coming that should be here in the next couple of days that I'm going to make some video content on. That should be a lot of fun. Everybody's probably familiar with it already, but I haven't had my hands on it yet, and it's something I've been interested in trying. And I reached out to this company, and they are providing me with a setup. It's the Smobot
Mhm.
temperature control system, and I'm going to be using it on one of the Kamado grills and on my Weber kettle. I'm getting the hardware to use it on the kettle as well, and I'm real excited about trying that. It's a fanless temperature control system. If you don't know what the Smobot is, it's a top vent cap replacement for the Kamado that uses a servo motor to open and close the top vent to control your temperature inside your grill. And it's Wi-Fi. It's got all the bells and whistles that, in terms of functionality, that most of the fan controllers have. But that thing, I'm expecting to arrive here any day now. Uh, Scott, I have not. Uh,
I have.
I don't mess with that. I haven't played with it. I played with that when I was playing with a meter, and it worked fairly well on the meter. I'm sure the one on the fireboard probably works fairly well too, but I don't know. There's not much that ever goes on my grill that I can't know within a reasonable amount of accuracy when it's going to be done. I don't know, Jeff. Did you have good experiences with it when you tried it?
Uh, yes and no. The Everything worked good except for your long cooks, the briskets and the pork butt, because we all know you get into that stall and it's anybody's guess. And what it does is it kind of gives you a false sense. Like it gives you its first prediction, but then it updates it along the way. So you really can't go by saying, okay, I can take that first prediction and go, okay, it's going to be done at 4:15, because it's
Yeah.
not, because it's going to update along the way, and the 4:15 may stretch out to 6:15.
Well,
Well,
here
now
my
here
little
you just
slow
blew everything.
cooks, my briskets, my butts, and my ribs, which are all the longer cooks that I do. I know when I put the thing on the grill within an hour when I'm going to be taking it back off because Jeff, we've got that process down to a science.
Oh, that
It's
that 200-degree process
yeah,
is
I know when I put it on there, I know within a 60-minute window, 30 minutes before or after, I know when it's coming off. Uh,
yep.
and
I haven't done that with the brisket yet, because I don't brisket, is it's a whole different piece.
yeah, but I've still got it. My briskets are still coming off about the same expected time window. So the let's see where I would find that useful. When I played with it on the meter, the meter is depending on you to leave that meter in there even after you pull it off the grill because it's accounting for carryover cooking on. I would say a perfect. There are two perfect things to test that setup with to see how well it's going to work. One would be a prime rib roast because it's
Yep.
not a real long cook. You set your target temperature up and uh, pull it off when it tells you to pull it off. But I think you got to leave the thermometer in it, or on the meter you did, and it was accounting for carryover cooking, and it was fairly accurate. It kind of knew about how much carryover cooking you're going to get, and that's something else that I've seen that you got to pay attention to. Some things carry over a lot more than others do. Chicken's one of them. Chicken will carry over more than, especially when you cook chicken like I do at 400 plus degrees.
Yep.
10 degrees is only the beginning of the carryover. If you're cooking a chicken at 450, you're going to get 15. You're going to get a minimum of 15 degrees of carryover when you pull that thing off. Uh, and I like for my chicken to finish at 150 in the breast. So, it's not going to be that uncommon for me to pull a chicken off when I'm at 135 to 138 in the breast because I want it to finish at 150. And uh, I know that's sacrilegious to a lot of you guys, but I know where I like my results, and I get amazing results with that process. But I don't know, Scott. Scott, do you have a fireboard? Or are you thinking about getting one? Is that why you're asking, or do you have one and want to know if we've played with it? I haven't, so uh, I would really at some point like to test the meter Wi-Fi, but I'm really choking at the idea of forking out the money for it. I don't like the I don't like the Meter Plus. I do not like the Bluetooth option at all. So uh, I the the ThermaPro Lightning or meets what's that one the ThermaPro that I have called? It's called their wireless Bluetooth probe works better than the Meter Plus, but it's still Wi-Fi or it's still Bluetooth. And it just so happens that here in my area, I get good connectivity. I get a good enough connectivity with the ThermaPro. The ThermaPro, the model number, the model name of that thing's escaping me here at the Temp Spike. It's called the Temp Spike. It works better for me than the Meter Plus, but I know other people that have bought it that don't have the kind of connectivity they'd like to have, and it's because it's Bluetooth. I think anything that's wireless, in order to be happy with it, you're going to need a Wi-Fi connection on it to get reliable connectivity. And then I've had people tell me that the meter's connectivity is not reliable, even on the Wi-Fi. But I know that Wi-Fi quality varies from house to house. And Jeff, we've dealt with this. I don't know how many times. Everybody's got connectivity issues, but they're not everybody's willing to put $300 or $400 into a mesh router system for their home where they can extend their coverage well enough to these areas. And these grilling devices, they're not cell phones, they're not tablets, they're not laptop computers. They don't have high end communications equipment in them. It's minimal.
Mm-hmm.
It's minimal at best. All of these. I don't have any connectivity issues with any of my fan control systems. I don't, but like I said, I put $400 into a mesh home router. Uh, Before I put $400 into a mesh home router, uh, I was having some connectivity issues with the iCommand when we were doing testing on the iCommand. But uh, its connectivity issues, I don't, I don't believe they're all router related. I believe they're the equipment. It's
They
not.
used first generation
Yeah,
Wi-Fi equipment on that,
it's cheap.
and
It's inadequate equipment, and I've seen people set up where they should have good connectivity, and they actually built into the Kamado Joe app a meter where you could get a connectivity reading, and these people were getting readings that should have produced decent Wi-Fi connectivity, but they just
Mhm.
weren't they weren't getting good connections. So there's a lot of variables when it comes to Wi-Fi, and I hate to evaluate or not buy something or buy something based on somebody else's evaluation of the Wi-Fi connectivity because
Right.
I don't know what they've got.
Well,
I don't,
it's just like cell phone, carriers. Everybody, when I was in IT, everybody asked me, well, "What's the best cell phone carrier?" I go, "The one that works at your house,
yeah,
whatever that is." I mean, AT&T may work at your house, or it may not. Your house may be Sprint, you know. So
yeah.
where are you going to use your cell phone the most? Probably at your house. Whatever you get the best reception, that's the carrier to go with.
Who was it here? Somebody. I saw a question pop up about that Kramer. Where's that? Where's that? Somebody asked me about the knife.
No, I saw that on Facebook. I don't think it was on this, John.
No, I thought somebody here asked me about the knife.
Um,
If one of you guys asked me about that knife,
I'm
there it
looking
is.
back on it.
Brian asked about it. Uh, uh, let's see here. Uh, this was part of today's project. Uh, Yesterday, I cooked a sirloin tip roast and sliced it up into sandwich meat today, and I used the Kramer. And that knife's off the hook.
I just about bought that knife, John.
You should buy it. I don't know. I'm not going to recommend that knife for everybody. I recommend it for me because I've got these fat sausage fingers, and when I'm on that knife, I've got to have clearance down here where I'm not racking my knuckles on the board
I'm
when
going
I'm
rapid. Yep,
chopping
yep, 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 yep,
or
yep.
rocking that knife. That knife's got the kind of clearance I need for my fingers. If you don't have big fingers, you don't necessarily need a knife like that. I'm not saying that you wouldn't fall in love with a knife like that, because you dadgum probably would if you could get your hands on one. And I'm also 100% glad that I bought the carbon steel one rather than the Damascus one that cost even more. I got the right knife. That the steel on that knife requires a little bit of care and attention, but that steel is going to hold an edge way better than the other one. Uh, it's not as pretty as the other one, maybe because it's not the Damascus, but man, that knife, I'm loving everything with it. It's developing its own patina, and once that patina is fully there, I'll not have to worry about that blade rusting at all. So, and I'm
Well,
taking care of it. I'm trying to speed that process along.
don't use citrus on it. It'll mess up your patina that you're looking to get.
Well, vinegar. I've been using vinegar to enhance the patina.
Yeah, vinegar. Well,
I don't know if citrus. I don't know why citrus wouldn't work. It's the same kind of acidity that you're getting from a vinegar.
it cleans it up. It's like carbon.
Citrus.
It's nice. Yeah.
Huh,
Okay, so going. Let's talk about another subject here. Your that pepper mill that you got. What did that thing normally run?
it's $200.
$200.
Yep.
That Peugeot one that I picked up. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Excuse me. Scott Love was pimping that at the Atlanta Grill Company.
Yeah.
Is AGC carrying that?
Yep.
Uh, do they have them in stock?
I think they do.
I don't know anything about it other than the pictures you showed me. It may turn to pepper. I like this man kitchen one because of the aluminum. Uh, and I can't remember the brand of the one that Stephen Hickey. No, Stephen. I don't remember the brand of the one that Stephen was looking at. There's a competitor out there. This aluminum one. It's all aluminum. I think it's at the 129 price point instead of $200 because Stephen was looking at it, and I can't remember who makes it. And Andrew,
Okay.
yeah, I've heard that story. Yeah, I'm
Hey,
not. I'm not interested. Does it have a bottle opener on it, Jeff? Is that what that is?
no, but I can open up a bottle with it if I needed to.
Oh boy, is that
But
wood?
yeah, yep, it's wood.
Yeah. Okay. That looks like it's a bigger pepper mill than the.
It's about maybe 13 inches tall.
Yeah, that's a lot bigger than this one.
But
But
they have it in a smaller. They've got it in smaller versions as well.
right.
If you go online and you look at the Peugeot, but they've been making pepper mills for over 100 years. I didn't know that. I thought they just made cars.
Andrew, I played with that Meter Plus using an old phone, and one of the things I found that's every time I went to grab the meter to play with it, that old phone was dead, and I was going to have to charge it. It's just I didn't like that setup. It works, I give you that. It does work. You could set it up with an old phone or a tablet or whatever and make your Wi-Fi bridge, but it's something else that you've got to think of ahead of time to make sure that it's ready to go. And in my book, I like to use this hashtag that you guys have all seen before on Man Cave Meals called MCM Really Right Stuff. I would never give the Meter Plus with a phone add on a Really Right Plus setup. It's not what I would consider a great solution to the problem, but the I need to. I guess one of these days I'm just going to have to break down and buy the Meter Wi-Fi. But that thing's like $369. It's a lot of money for something that doesn't also control the pit.
Yep.
Uh, that's just your thermometers, and those thermometers also aren't waterproof. That's one of the things I like about the temp spike from Thermopro. I haven't had a chance to try that yet, but I'm going to try that in a sous vide bag and in a deep fryer to see how it fares in those environments. It should work, but you can't do that with a meter. And yeah, it's something. One of these days, next time I find $400 laying around that I don't have another target for, I might do that. But I've rekindled another hobby that I've had in the past during my downtime here. It's not something I'll discuss on Facebook or YouTube, but it's I'm putting a little bit of money into another hobby, rekindling some hobby I used to do a lot, and most of my rainy day money's landing in that hobby at this time. So yeah, it involves it involves
propelling vertical missiles or
yeah.
horizontal missiles.
I've been having a good time at the outdoor facilities lately.
So Logan, did all your goodies show up?
Did Logan make it in with us?
Yeah, he made it in. He had a basket full of goodies, and then I talked him into the walk on top of that.
I think Logan bought about $42,000 worth of stuff last year when he was down there. I think he had to get a U-Haul truck to ship it all back home. Yeah. So yes, Brian, that's what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah,
playing with that kind of thing.
PFD.
Yeah, I've bought a few new toys, and one of my new toys is one that a buddy of mine helped me put together from pieces, and I've really had a good time with it lately as well. It's a rush, and tomorrow that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm after I go for my morning hike tomorrow. I'm headed out. I've got a red dot that needs to be zeroed. So
Oh, you got another red dot?
I got one on the 2.2
Right.
on the small 2.2. I had to
I thought that's the
my,
one that you were zeroing in before.
I was doing that last week, but
Okay, what happened?
I don't think I had it mounted securely because
Ah,
I had everything that looked good, and then the last two the last two mags were 5 inches to the right. So I brought it home and disassembled it and put it back together, put new Loctite on everything. So hopefully we're good to go now. I just got to go back and line everything up again. So Logan said he didn't spend as much money this year as he did last year. So I hate that I couldn't go, but it's just one of those things. Um, I don't know that I'll be back down there for any, uh, for all intensive purposes, as Tanya and I would say. What else is new, Jeff?
what else is new? Let's see here. What else is new? I've been working more this week since I need to go back to work, I think, as much as I'm working. Get paid
Here's
for
something.
it.
Here's something we can talk about for a minute. I posted about this on Man Cave Meals the other day.
Oh, no, Bristol,
Yeah,
my throat.
it's that time of year where you start seeing these stories about bristles off these brushes getting lodged in people's throats and their intestines and everywhere else. And I decided to
John,
make a
I
post.
haven't figured that. I haven't figured that theory out yet. I mean, I'm not gonna say that it couldn't happen,
Oh, it
but
can happen.
if you're scraping your grill down
Uh,
and a bristle comes off, if your grill is clean or you continue to scrape, isn't it
yeah.
gonna fall into the fire?
Well, if you look at my picture here, uh, you see my grill grate. That's on my Kamado Joe Classic 3 right outside the door out here. And I keep I keep my grill grate in that kind of shape that you see in that picture with this brush right here. And
Yeah, that's the same brush I use.
I go through 3 or 4 of these a year. They don't last forever, especially
No.
as often as I use them because, uh, but that grill grate, there's no crud on this grill grate. And because there's no crud on my grill grate, there's nothing there for bristle to stick to. Uh, I can't fathom if somebody's got a grill and they're using the brush the way the brush is intended to be used, what is on their grill grate that one of these bristles could stick to and then transfer to their food? Because I tell you, when you talk about stuff like this, everybody either knows somebody or has had it happen to themselves. They've gotten bristles stuck in them. But I can't imagine it if you're maintaining your grill grate and keeping your grill grate clean. Uh, so it's one of those things that I like the wire bristle brush because they clean better than any other brush out there. And this brush, I just cleaned this brush also. These things get crudded up with gunk off your grill grates, and they get messy. But if you soak them in a bath of hot water and OxyClean, they get to looking like this again. They look brand new again in about 5 minutes with hot water. Cindy says we're going to talk about charcoal lighting, and then cast iron washing. Nah, I don't know. I'm trying to train myself to stay away from the charcoal debates because everybody's got their anecdotal evidence to say why their charcoal or their charcoal lighting method's the best way to do it.
You know what my idea of charcoal is?
What's that?
Buy the one that's on sale.
I like
They
the
all
cheap
work.
stuff at Walmart. Yeah,
They all
I'm not.
work.
I'm not. I don't know of a word I can insert here that won't offend somebody, but I'm not of the class that needs a specific charcoal to get the cook done. I can cook with whatever I've got. There's no charcoal that's going to keep me from getting the cook done. There's no charcoal that's going to make me have to change the way I cook. Uh, when you're using a fan controller, you can use any kind of charcoal you want. If you're using a Fireboard or an iCommand or a Flame Boss or anything, you can put Kingsford in there. You can run briquettes and use what you want to use, but everybody's got their favorite stuff, and I don't. I'm just not buying these designer charcoals anymore.
Nope.
Uh, Jeffrey, if you're using a Big Joe, I would get the Pit Viper fan and get one of their adapter plates, or if you're using a Joe Junior, I would get the Pit Viper and an adapter plate. If you want the Fireboard fan, it works fine on a classic without an adapter plate. I don't use an adapter plate on mine. I just stick mine up to the edge and then close the adapter plate on it. It's not a perfect fit. It's not a perfect seal, but it works great. Never had any issues with it. But I do not like the mounting plates that come with the Fireboard because they're stiff and they're thick and they do not fit in these curved tracks for these Kamados very well. I don't know why uh, Fireboard has not improved that for a Kamado. I also don't particularly like the way the Fireboard fan mounts to those plates. Jeff, you've got a Fireboard, don't you?
Yep. I don't have any problems with it mounting.
Are you
I'm
using
not sure. I'm
are you
not sure
using it
what you're
on a
talking about.
classic?
Use it on my classic on the Big Joe. I never had any problems at all.
Are you using their plates?
Yeah. The only plate that I ever made is I made the plate for the uh, kettle Joe.
Well, maybe they have improved the plates then, but when I had mine, the plates, the mounting plates were thick and they were stiff and they did not fit in the tracks very well. So if they've improved that, that's great. But still, I don't like the way that fan mounts to those plates. It's kind of tricky to get it in there, and it's never ever going to be a good tight fit. I do like the way the Pit Viper mounts. The Pit Viper mounts into that tube receptacle. It slides right in there. It's a good friction fit, and those plates they'll flex any way you want them to flex. And the Fireboard fan is also a 20 CFM fan when it's running full power. Uh, when you're on the Fireboard, if you're running on battery power, if you're running on the fireboard's internal battery, you can't run the fan faster than 50% power. You have to be on a 12 volt uh, power source to be able to run the fan at 100%. But the Pit Viper fan's a 10 CFM fan, and 10 CFM is still more than you need for a Kamado. Uh, when I'm running the 20 CFM uh, fireboard fan on mine, I'm running it at 20% of max, which is, what does that come out to, Jeff? 4 CFM?
Yeah, about that.
I'm running at 4 CFM, and it's more than I ever need at 20%. So I don't know. Both of them are good. The Pit Viper fan and the adapter is going to cost you a few dollars more than the Fireboard fan. I have a Pit Viper around here somewhere that went with my Digit Q2 DX, because when I bought that, I bought the Pit Viper fan to go with it when I was running it on my Weber Smoky Mountain way back in the dark ages.
Were they still pumping in sunlight then, John?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's when all you had was Kingsford. You had to cook on Kingsford. I never ever used lump charcoal until I got my first Kamado grill. There were people people talking about using lump charcoal in the ugly drum smokers, and I just didn't. I just used Kingsford. I like Kingsford. I run briquettes in my Kamados occasionally too. People get upset about that. People have heard too many stories that are untrue. You don't want to use match light. You don't want to use the self-lighting charcoal in your Kamado, but any other briquettes you can use in there. You're just going to have to clean out a lot of ash when you're done, but it works. It works fine. And one of the things, Jeff, I don't know why it is, briquettes provide a different flavor profile than lump, and I kind of like it. I like the flavor profile you get from briquettes.
Particularly when the grease strips on it.
Yeah, that's another reason that I bought the Weber kettle. I've done cooking on the Weber kettle. I haven't made any photos or done any video content lately with the Weber kettle, but I am going to do some when that Smobot comes in. So, Brian, I don't think they've discontinued the kettle, Joe. Jeff, do you know?
Yeah, I just looked. It's not on there, so I'm kind of confused.
I don't know. I have no
Let me see
idea.
if it's on Atlanta Grill.
I'm giving mine to my sister and brother-in-law. I've got to haul it down to them. I don't like cooking on it. The kettle, Joe, in my opinion, it's good for low and slow. I don't like it for anything else. It's a good smoker, but I've got issues.
Atlanta Grill says sold out, so I don't know. I'll have to check on that, see what the deal is on that.
Yeah. So
I say that Kettle Joe, it's a good little starter grill for Kamado Joe to get into it.
It's not one I'd buy.
Well, I'll still, after I did the fixes that I did to it, the modifications, which is just merely the gasket material around both the lid and the slow roller.
It's a good smoker. It's an okay smoker. It's not a good grill.
No. It's a starter.
I would rather cook on, for direct heat grilling, I would rather cook on a Weber kettle than on the Kettle Joe.
Well, the only thing I'll tell you is my best brisket, other than this last one that I did using Myron's method with the Wagyu Gold, has come off of that Kettle Joe.
Yep. I haven't forked out for a Wagyu brisket yet. Maybe I will one day.
Well, I said I have to try it once, and I tried it once, and if you try it once, you're going to go,
Well, here's the deal.
Just telling you.
I would rather buy beef ribs. I'd just rather buy beef ribs because I like beef ribs way better than I like brisket.
You and me both.
And
as far as beef goes, I'm going to say beef ribs is my number one.
Yeah.
And then behind that, I'll go with the prime rib.
I don't have to spend, if I'm going to spend $10 a pound on beef for low and slow smoking, I'd rather buy beef ribs than brisket. And briskets, the Wagyu briskets cost more than that per pound. So, uh,
Yeah. Get the size that you want. You're talking about $220 for a 15
yeah,
pounder.
I'm gonna stick with beef ribs. I don't think I'll ever buy a Wagyu brisket. I don't
Oh, you
know.
have to buy it once.
It's one of those things I need to have done once. You're right. I need to have that experience in my repertoire, and I don't have it.
I'm going to tell you, John, point blank honest, you do it once, it's kind of hard to go back to a plain one. I mean,
Well, I'm
the
not.
difference.
Let me let you in on something here. I'm about in the same place with brisket that I am with turkey. You know how I feel about turkey, right?
Yeah.
I'm about, I'm about the same place with brisket. Uh, what I think brisket's good for is chopping it up and using it in other things. I don't. I'd rather. I'm okay with that, and that brisket's good for that because it's cheap. And brisket would be great for your shepherd's pie or
hmm
a taco
That's
meal.
what I
Yeah.
use it for is my shepherd's pie and pizza. And Brian, did AGC stop selling barks? Yes, they did. Unfortunately. Would I buy a bark again? Absolutely.
That new bark, that third generation bark, I think is pretty awesome. I haven't fired my bark up since I bought the Camp Chef. I need to get that thing up and cook on it here
Well, I'll tell
lately.
you what, from what I've seen of your camp chef, for anybody who's looking to spend in the $1,000 mark for a pellet smoker, that camp chef I think is the ticket, for being in that price category.
Well,
I'm not impressed with the pits and spits. I think they're way overpriced for what you're getting. I don't see the quality in it.
well, the pits and spits. I've never stood in front of one of them, so I can't speak
I have.
intelligently about them. The build quality on them looks good, but it's one of these things. It's priced out of the average backyard griller's
Oh yeah.
ability. When they start at 3 grand and go up from there, like the bark does now, and these
Mhm.
pits and spits, that's a lot of money. The
But in the Bark's defense, that's a buy once, cry once. I
Well,
mean,
you can say that about all this stuff. You can say the same thing about the pits and spits or a Komodo Kamado
oh,
or
definitely.
whatever. The When I bought the Camp Chef, my objective there, we talked about this extensively here on the live stream. I wanted to bring in a sub $1,000 uh, pellet grill that was awesome. That is something that could be something I could recommend to people who didn't want to spend bark money, who didn't want to spend pits and spits money. And I ended up going, $1,200 instead of $1,000 because of that smoker box that's on that
Mhm.
Camp Chef. Camp Chef now has a smoker that has the smoker box on it that's $8.99, and it's got more capacity than this pellet grill. But it's just a smoker. It doesn't have the ability to have the sidekick or anything. I think they call it the XL or something.
Yeah.
It's just a pellet smoker, and it's probably the really right tool if you want the Camp Chef smoker experience with that smoker box. If you want to spend less than $1,000, that ability's there. But I don't regret this Woodwind Pro for one moment because I spent additional money and bought the Sidekick and the options that some of the options that go with it, and I am totally stoked to have that 30,000 BTU burner, the griddle that I got with that, and that sear box that I got with that. I've basically got a small griddle and a small gas grill that sit on the side of that pellet smoker. I haven't bought the pizza oven yet. I'm going to get that. I'm going to buy the pizza accessory because I think I can pull off a Neapolitan pizza on that thing. So I want to try it.
Now that pizza that sits on that 30,000 BTU burner, right?
Yeah.
If it
And
sits on that 30,000 BTU burner, you're going to pull off a Neapolitan with no problem
yeah,
whatsoever.
I think they've said, I should be able to get north of 750, 800 without any trouble on that.
I think
Maybe
you'll
even
get higher
more.
than that.
Yeah, we'll have to just try it and see. And
I mean, on that pizza insert that I have for the Masterbuilt,
mhm,
I was getting 700 plus
yeah.
on that on a pellet, or not pellet, on a gravity feed. So
So
sitting right over that 30,000 BTU, you shouldn't have any problem.
yeah, Scott says brisket's overpriced now, but in my area, brisket's back down to pre-pandemic prices. And I think when I was at Sam's Club the other day, their choice Angus beef briskets were 369 a pound,
Yeah.
and they were 399 a pound for the prime. I don't buy the prime at Sam's anymore. I just buy that choice Angus because I've always been happier with the results.
And
But
that's far superior to the Costco brisket. So for any of you people out there that are buying Costco briskets, that Sam's brisket will run circles around it.
the when I first started cooking brisket, though, it was $1 a pound less than that. I was getting 269, 279 a pound when I first started cooking briskets. So it's gone up to that. But we're back down to the pre-pandemic pricing. The briskets were $5 and $6 a pound during the pandemic.
Well,
I,
John, I remember when you couldn't even get brisket because it was
yeah.
that unpopular of a cut of meat.
Scott, glad you could join us tonight. Scott, I do not have an offset. I bought one quite a few years back so I could learn how to run one. I was in Academy Sports one day quite a long time ago, and they had this. I can't remember the brand name.
Oklahoma Joe?
It wasn't Oklahoma Joe, but the model of the one I bought was called the Brazos, Brazos, and it was $1,000 offset, and they had it mispriced on the floor. They had it listed for $399, and I told Tanya, I said I'm going to buy that because they've got it priced wrong, and I said I'll learn how to use it and I'll sell it and get my money back, no problem. And I told the guy there I wanted that one, and he says, I'll be back in a second. I said, oh, no, he knows it's priced wrong. So he went in the back and came back, and he says, well, we're going to give you an additional $40 off on that because we're missing the rain cap for the smokestack. So I bought this thing, and I kept it long enough to learn how to cook on it, to learn how to run a fire, and everything they say about offset cookers is true. That's the best flavor you're going to get,
Mhm.
but you're going to tend to fire. You're going to tend to fire every 30 or 45 minutes. And yes,
Or less.
I cooked on it for 6 or 7 months, and then I sold it to one of my coworkers for exactly what I paid for it, and he's still cooking on it. So uh, that's my experience with that. So uh, I
There's
think
nothing better than an offset uh, cooker, but
yeah.
it's if you don't want to babysit it, it's not the cooker for you.
James is with us. James, glad you could join us. James can tell us all about expensive offsets because James has got a stack of them up there. Those things are beautiful. They're amazing, and James has done a lot of content on it. And James has gone through the same process that I went through with mine about learning how to manage that fire. You need a small, hot, visible fire going in that thing at all times. And the way I learned to run mine is I let mine was not a reverse flow, and I got some metal and I cut some baffles to go in mine to help even out the temperature in mine from one end to the other. I got that pretty well where I had about a 15 or 20 degree temperature delta from one side to the other that worked out pretty well. But uh, what I would do in mine was I would get a chimney of briquettes and get it lit and get that chimney of briquettes ashed over, and I would dump them into a small pile in the firebox, and then I would set a couple of wood splits on there and let them catch, and I would leave the vent on the uh, on the firebox side completely open, and I would leave the stack completely open also until I got my draft going, and then when I wanted to temper the flame, if I got hotter than I wanted to dial it back, I closed off at the stack side a little bit and left the other end open where I've got that visible flame going all the time. But it's yeah,
Speaking of offsets, Aaron Franklin just at AGC, he had his new Franklin offset.
yeah.
That was pretty. That thing was built nice.
That's about a 4 grand smoker, isn't it?
I think it's a little north of there.
Is it?
It's really, I mean, it's heavy duty all the way. There's nothing cheap about that smoker.
Hey Scott, which one are you looking at? I've only seen one reverse flow that I would consider to be inexpensive, and that's that Oklahoma Joe. And the only thing I don't like about the Oklahoma Joe is it's smaller. And if I can give anybody any advice on my limited experience with offsets, is the only advice I know that'll go a long way is bigger is better. The bigger the offset you get, the easier time you're going to have running it. It's easier to run a big offset than it is to run a small one and keep it at the temperatures where you want it. I think James. I hope James would agree with me on that. I, he
I
might
agree
be.
with you on that. Small
Yeah,
one, it doesn't take a whole bunch to get a big swing on your temps.
yeah. So it's yeah. Hey James. Brian's got a great idea here. If your wife's still wanting you to kick some offsets off your property, let me rent a truck and I'll run up there and I'll get one of them going for you. No, really, I don't have a good spot to put an offset anymore. I'm I'm getting rid of stuff rather than bringing new stuff in at this point. Uh,
5100 for Franklin's offset,
yeah,
John.
and I don't doubt that it's good, but man, it's good.
Oh,
I'm curious
it's
what
heavy
Scott.
duty all the way, but you still, I think you'd be hard pressed to put more than 40-pound pig in it.
Right.
I don't think you go over
If you
40.
want to look at some really good offsets here in the states, that I think I would say they're less expensive than the stuff James has. They're more expensive than the Oklahoma Joes, obviously, but the Lang. There's a company down in Florida, somewhere near you, Jeff, called Lang Barbecue, Lang, or they're in Florida somewhere. And this guy makes some really nice offsets that aren't as expensive as stuff like the Jambo or stuff like some of these others that you've seen. And actually, I think Yoder makes a couple of offsets too that I would have to classify as really nice and not breaking the bank. But I have not priced them lately, so I don't know what they cost. Uh,
Well, I'm looking at his site right now, and the only thing he's showing is stuff on a trailer.
well, he's got backyard stuff, backyard offsets, or he did. Uh, and he's located somewhere in Florida. I can't remember exactly where he is down there. Uh,
Yeah, he's got a 36-inch offset.
yeah. Uh, who are what's this company? What's the one that Russ Jones has got, and the one that Greg Mervich has? Uh, that company makes some that aren't as expensive as some of the other ones. Also,
No, Lang is in Georgia,
is it in
John.
Georgia? Okay,
Yeah, Nahunta, Georgia.
I was thinking that they were in Florida.
Uh,
Thanks, Eric.
only,
Thanks,
only
Anthony.
grills that are produced in Florida is 55-gallon drums that are
Yeah,
cut on the quarter to make a grill.
I'm trying to remember the name of that. Troy's got one also that they put a lot of these smokers in the big YouTubers' hands. And Gator, Gator, no, I can't remember. But Brian, what I've got now, I've got the Myron Mixon Bar second generation, the 2400. I've got the Weber 26-inch kettle. I've got the Pellet Joe. I've got my Kamado Joe Classic 2, my Kamado Joe Classic 3, and I've got the Kettle Joe, which is getting ready to leave. I'm giving it to my sister, and I've got the PK Ghost. That's all that's left here. I got rid of some of my larger stuff that was taking up so much space on my deck. I tried to get rid of the Pellet Joe and couldn't find a buyer for it. and I was not. I had it listed at $400 on Facebook Marketplace and couldn't find a buyer at that, so I just decided to keep it. And once I'm glad I did now because the Wi-Fi is not working on it, so that grill would have zero value to today's buyer without the Wi-Fi working. People can't cook without cell phones anymore, so I'm the only person that's qualified to run that grill without its Wi-Fi being functional. Nobody else will be able to cook on that besides me, so I'm just going to keep it. Jeff,
Tom Wilson says Joe connected. Tom, is there a question there?
Yes, John said Lone Star Grills is the company I was trying to think of there. That's the one. Scott says he's looking at a 85-gallon, 900-pound offset. Yeah. Smoke North. Isn't Smoke North the one that James has? Isn't that the brand? Isn't that the kind James has got?
I think it is. If he's
Man,
still
those,
on, maybe he'll
Scott, if you
chime in
can
there.
get one of those, man, you'll be the bomb. Absolutely. I'm not familiar with Legends, but Tom, Jeff's got the connected, Joe. Jeff was part of the testing group on that, so I don't have any experience with it. So all I can speak to it from is what I've seen. So Jeff can tell you the hands-on stuff with it.
Yeah, Tom. I mean, it's a nice grill. My wife can use it. Um, when you turn it on and the lid is up, you get three preset options: one for the patisserie, one for your griddle, one for the dojo. If the lid is closed, you set your temperature to what you want. Hit the igniter. Igniter runs for 10 minutes, brings it up to temp. They're still tweaking the temps. On the low temps, it's overshooting by about 10, 15 degrees, but it comes back down within 10, 15 minutes. You go on the temperatures 300 and above, it's backing off on those just nicely, and it'll ride it forever. It's I've used the heck out of it. It's nice.
Yep, Scott, talk to James about that Smoke North. I'm sure you knew he had those, so he would be able to tell you everything you want to know about them. I know he's done a lot of cooking on those, and they're beautiful. I don't know what they're made out of or what the exterior seasoned with. I just love that color, that patina that those things have. I think they look nice. I don't know how long that holds up, but it's they're beautiful. Uh, I am if I was retired and had more time on my hands and I knew what to do with, I'd probably be cooking on an offset. And so
John, that's a
down the
lie.
road, no, it isn't. I
Yeah,
think
it
down
is
the road,
because I'm telling you, you think you're going to have all this time when you retire, and you don't. Trust
no,
me,
I
John.
will. I'm not
No,
going to
you won't.
become one of
No,
you guys who get
no, you
busy when
won't.
you get retired. When I get
No, you won't.
retired, I'm going to get lazy. I'm not going
No,
to get
John,
busy.
I'm telling you, it ain't happening, buddy.
Well, I'm a long way from retirement, so we'll see.
I'll probably be dead and gone by the time you retire, son.
Well, my mom's got busy when she retired. My dad, my dad didn't. My dad made time for the things he wanted to do when he retired, and
Oh, don't get me wrong. I get the things done that I want to do, but I tell
yeah,
you what, with having the grandkids, taking them to school, picking them up, taking them to school, taking them here, taking them there. No,
yeah.
and everything else. No. Plus, we volunteer at the school. Nah, I have no time.
So you got to make time. I make Tanya and I maybe blazing through your neighborhood in December. I think we're thinking seriously about road tripping to Key West over Christmas. So
Cool.
I'll let you know when that plan comes to fruition.
Stop
We're
in.
gonna take a road trip the week before Christmas somewhere, and Key West is high on the list. So uh, we'll figure that out. James, did you have to season the outside of that thing, or did it have any kind of pre-seasoning on it? And Scott, let me know when you are coming to Greenville, and I will see if I can't run down there and at least have a meal with you because I'm not far from Greenville. Greenville's an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes from here. Uh, I'd be more than happy to run down there and break pizza with you. Break pizza and spill beer. So yeah, let me know. Greenville's just and I don't know. It may take me 2 hours to get to Greenville, depending on traffic, but it's not bad. Greenville's about the halfway point between me and Atlanta. So yeah, I'd love to hook up with you. What's bringing you to Greenville? You coming on business or pleasure? I hope it's not pleasure. I think of better places to go in South Carolina than Greenville. There's a lot of great places to see in South Carolina. That's where my grits come from. And Jeff, those grits are good. Those Nora Mill grits.
Have you finally tried them?
Yeah,
Okay, how do they stack up to yours? Because I haven't had yours, so I don't know.
they are. I'll tell you what then, since you haven't had mine, I'll send you some. I've got
Okay.
some other stuff I need to send you anyway. Let me send you a bag of the Marsh Hen Mill grits and let you decide. Now, the ones I'm going to be sending you are yellow grits. They're made from the yellow corn. I don't buy the white.
I thought I sent you a bag of white and a bag of yellow and the gravy.
I'll have to double check. I think the ones I had were white.
I thought I sent you a bag of each and the
I
white
haven't
gravy.
gotten to the other one then. So they make white, yellow, and the speckled. You can get the 50-50, but Tanya and I like the yellow ones. That's the ones we
That's
buy.
my favorite is the yellow, but I sent you both
Yeah.
of them so
Let
that you
me.
can try.
I'll send you a bag of these, and I'll send you. I've got some other stuff I've been meaning to mail you anyway, so I'll send it all at the same time. Uh, so Scott says he got some friends. Okay, Myrtle Beach. There you go. I knew there had to be some destination in South Carolina beyond Greenville. Myrtle Myrtle Beach is I guess that's the tourist destination in South Carolina.
Yep.
I've been there a time or three myself, but I haven't been there lately. I was down there 10 years ago or so with Tanya on business, and it was in November. And let me tell you, Myrtle Beach is a ghost town in November. We went to a Hard Rock Cafe down there for dinner on a Thursday night, and I think we and two other couples were about the only people in the place. But yeah, Myrtle Beach won't be like that in July. It'll be
No,
hopping down
you'll
there.
be
Yeah.
hopping.
So yeah, I'll definitely run down there. Would love to meet you, Scott. Uh, not a problem. Uh, I don't know where the good food in Greenville is. I know where there's a Fuddruckers off the interstate. If you like good, I don't typically stop in Greenville on my way back and forth, but there's worse places than Greenville. But down in the Low Country, down in Edisto Island, that's where my grits come from in South Carolina. So, and Mike, I appreciate you coming, but I don't know if we're going to keep. I don't know what's going to become of the live stream. I know I want to try to keep doing it, but I don't know if Thursday night's going to be where this lands or not. Uh, I'm thinking not. I'm really leaning heavily towards Mondays, uh, but we'll have to see. I'll have to figure that out. But Cindy said Fuddruckers went out of business there. We had one here that went out of business too. It didn't last long, and the building that it was in stayed empty for 10 or 11 years. And there's a new place just now getting ready to open up where that Fuddruckers used to be. It's some sort of breakfast place, so I'll probably never eat there. Uh, so, yep. Tanya's been out of town all week. Tanya is in Washington, D.C. this week with her nephew. She took him up there on a graduation vacation. And she'll be home tomorrow afternoon, later, early tomorrow evening. and she'll be home all week next week. But I think the week after that, she's out of town again. She's going to, she's making that trip out to San Jose for a some sort of event that Cisco is putting on. That's part of the program Tanya teaches in, and she will be gone again for a week.
So, John, what is your opinion of the grits? How they
Oh, they're
stack up
good. Uh,
to?
I'm not ready to say they're better than
Well, I didn't
the.
say they'd be better. I think any stone ground grits, if they're done right, is.
Let me try the yellow ones, and but by my cooking technique, they do well. But man, I go over and above for grits because I think they're worth it.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
that's something else I need. I'm not going to make a video on it. I'm going to make a photo series, and I'm going to teach. I'm going to show people how I make my grits. I've done it in video in the past, but
I don't think any grits bought in the grocery store is as good as getting them from like Nora Mills, your place. It's an entirely different ball game.
yeah. But I like cooking mine on a double boiler, so it takes me an hour, roughly an hour and 15 minutes, give or take 10 minutes to cook my grits. And Tanya doesn't like the way I cook my grits. She wants hers cooked in water, and I cook mine in a 50-50 mix of chicken stock and half, and
Mhm.
that that's makes crazy good grits. And
And that's a good crazy good grits for using as a base for like shrimp and
oh
grits.
yeah, it may not be the best breakfast grits, but
No,
Tanya only eats grits at breakfast. So, but yeah, for shrimp and grits, or man, I've served osso buco on top of grits.
that's what I
I've
was going to
served
say. Also,
beef ribs,
buco, beef
beef
ribs.
ribs on top of grits. I've served sausage on top of grits. My
That's
bangers
a
and
good base
mash
for any
grits.
protein.
Yeah,
For doing a protein with the grits.
and yeah,
But breakfast grits, no, it's I make my breakfast grits with water and milk or water and heavy cream.
I'll put diced jalapeno peppers in there. I'll put various cheeses in it.
Hmm.
Man, Gruyere grits. That's
Those
something
are
else.
good. That's off the chart there.
I'm struggling here to find what I consider to be great Gruyere. Uh, I need to look around. I need to go to some other places outside of my area. That I can't remember the brand name of that Gruyere that's in the actual Swiss Gruyere that's in my local shop, local grocery stores. But it's one you can find a lot of places. It's good. It's not consistent from package to package in its flavor. I don't know why that is, but and I'm not ready to put Emmentaler in grits.
Mhm.
That cheese I buy to snack on, and I eat it raw. I don't use that to cook with. That's a munching cheese right there. If I'm gonna pay that for cheese, I'm not gonna cook with it.
Do
So,
you have an Aldi's by you, John?
yeah, there's a couple of them around here. I don't
When you go in
shop.
there, look for the bread cheese. They have a garlic and they have a bacon and the plain one.
Yeah.
And you slice that into about eighth-inch slices. It's
Hmm.
it's kind of a thin block of cheese, and then you fry it.
I have to check it out. I
That's
just don't
good.
shop at Aldi.
It up
I've
to,
got fundamental opposition to Aldi.
well, you can have your fundamental opposition, but we go through a lot of cauliflower. Okay,
Yeah.
I can buy like today we went and bought cauliflower. It was $1.99 for really big heads,
Mhm.
$4.99 at Publix. Where do you think I'm
Yeah.
buying my cauliflower?
Well, Publix is not the cheapest place to buy produce either. I don't get to shop at Publix as often as I'd like to because it's a 22 miles each way for me to go to Publix.
Mhm.
But cauliflower, I don't remember what I paid for the last head of cauliflower I bought, but I do know that now produce a lot of the produce that I buy has doubled, at least doubled in price per pound in the last 2 years.
Well, and the biggest thing with that is fuel prices. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the diesel for the tractors on the farm, the diesel to get it from the farm to the packing place. The diesel will get it from the packing place to the distribution place, from the distribution place. It's ridiculous. I mean,
Cindy's
everybody
talking
thinks,
about lamb down there. I was thinking about you the other day when I was at Sam's Club. I was looking at the lamb racks that they had, and those things have doubled in price
yes,
since
they
the
have.
last time I bought one. I think these lamb racks that were the whole rack was 2 pounds and something were $45 for one of them.
Yep.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it's gotten lamb has gotten ridiculous. I used to buy the rack for like $13,
Yeah,
and now it's anywhere 26 and north.
a pound.
Yep. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. I will Jeff and I'll figure out what we're going to do with the live stream. Uh, like I said, I don't know what night's going to work for me yet. Since I'm not going to take it quite as seriously, I'm leaning more towards not doing it on Thursday nights. I want to leave Thursday evenings open for other stuff, and I may try Monday and see how Monday pans out, and we'll go from there. I'm going to try to round up some people to have on where you guys don't have to sit and listen to me and Jeff ramble. Some more interesting people, and we'll see if we can get James to come back on with us, and Scott. Both James and Scott have both been on here with me before. I need to check in with both of them and see what's going on. I know James added one of the Weber Summit Kamados to his arsenal recently, and I'd love to hear. I've seen some of the video content he's posted on that already, but I'd love to talk to him about it. Uh, I almost bought one of those, but I decided to get the 26-inch kettle instead of that. Uh, and the 26-inch kettle, you're going to see some more stuff coming off of it here before long too. When I put that Smobot to the test. The Smobot was one. I reached out to those people and asked them if they would provide me with one, and they gladly agreed to do it. And I'm going to make a little bit of video content on that, and we'll talk about it. I'm intrigued by it, and I've been intrigued by it since the first time I ever saw it, but I never bought one. I think I've been so embroiled in the fireboard mindset for so long that I've never really considered looking beyond that for other fun stuff to play with. The fireboard's an awesome tool, and I'm not going to ever claim that it isn't. We talked about that fan a little earlier. I'm not as big a fan of the fireboard fan as I probably could be, but I do like the Pit Viper fan. And the great thing about the fireboard is you can use a lot of different fans on it. You don't have to use the fireboard fan. The fireboard fan is incredibly well constructed. It's well made. It's heavy duty, and I like that about it. Mine's got a lot of miles on it, and I've never had any problems with it. The only problem I've had with anything fireboard is I had to replace my ambient pit probe on my Fireboard Pro a couple of months ago, but uh, I'm perfectly aware that pit probes are not lifetime investments. They're going to wear out, they're going to crap out, and you're going to have to replace those periodically. That's something you got to keep in mind, guys. A lot of this stuff that we buy is not going. It's not generational wealth that you're investing in here.
For sure.
So yeah, some of this stuff you got to replace periodically, and the temperature probes on your thermometers and control systems are what's the word, Jeff? They're consumables.
Yep.
They're
That's
disposable.
what I look at probes at. I mean,
Yeah,
they're going to go bad. It's just a
they're
matter of
not
time.
they're not particularly cheap. The cool thing about the Fireboard Pro is that K type connector. You can use anybody's K type connector, and you can get on Amazon and find some that are less expensive than the fireboard replacements. But I bought a 3 pack of some of the probes just to try, and they work. The wires on them are a little short, but I did buy a fireboard branded ambient probe because I like the way it's designed with the alligator clip attached to the probe, where I can stick it up in there and clip it to the stem of my dome thermometer, because that's where I like to run it. That's sacrilege also. Everybody's got to have great temperature now. And this is something that just still blows my mind, is why everybody's concerned with their great temperature. If you would think that if great temperature is where you needed to measure your temperature from, why don't the grill manufacturers put their thermometers down there at grate level instead of up here on top? Why is that, Jeff?
One of the
What do they
best
know that, what do they know
questions
that
that'll
we
never
don't?
be answered.
What do they know that we don't? There must be something, because we figured out that they don't know where to read the temperature inside the grill from. Because
I've hooked my ambient temp to the dome temp for years.
yeah,
I mean, it's
that's what I like to do. But and one of the things I like to answer people's questions. Sometimes they'll post this cook. They'll talk about their cook took 20 hours and it should have only taken 12. The first thing I like to ask is, or I like to say is, I bet you were measuring your temperature at the grate level, weren't you? And they say, yep, because that's where the meat is. And that's always going to turn out to be the root of the problem. The dome temperature, nobody wants to think about temperature consistency. Everybody wants to think about temperature accuracy, and accuracy is nowhere near as important as consistency in an oven. So I don't know. Those aren't things I worry about when I'm cooking.
not me.
Every video I've ever done, all of the videos that I've ever done, you will not find a video. If I say this, somebody's going to prove me wrong, but I don't think you're ever going to find a video of mine where I've measured my grill temperature from the grate. Now, there are times when I've probably clipped my probe to the grate, but even when I have done that, I use the fan controller to make my dome thermometer sit where I want it to be, more so than where the pit probe is. But when I'm able to clip to the dome thermometer, that's what I do. And typically, they're close to each other.
Cindy's absolutely right. People overthink it. Just kick back and enjoy the show, folks.
Yeah.
Just kick back and enjoy the show. It's a lot more
This
fun.
this is a male problem. This is a man problem. I don't ever see women sweating temperature in anything they've ever cooked. Cindy, you can probably back me up on this. Women, for whatever the reason, don't sweat that detail when they're cooking. It's it's men. Men want to have a cookie cutter recipe. I'll post a picture of something, and if I don't post any detail with it, I'll get 10 people give me a
Time and
3 word
temp.
response. Time and
Time and
temp.
temp.
How long did you cook it at what temperature? And if I
I
tell
wish
them,
people would quit asking that question.
no,
It's
what you
not
got
the
to start
same
doing
for
is
any two cooks.
tell them how long you cooked it at what temperature, and when they come back to you and say that didn't work for me, I'll say no crap, didn't work for you. Time and temp. That's if you could distill every cook to a certain amount of time at a certain temperature, this hobby wouldn't be any fun. It really wouldn't. Yep.
I mean, yeah, what happened to those days when you didn't have a thermometer on your grill? You just cooked.
I remember quite a few years back, I did this thing, and Stephen Hickey was involved with me on it. I challenged people to take the dome thermometer off their Kamado
Yep.
and cook a chicken. And just to prove the point, I did a live stream of this. I live streamed my cook. I took the thermometer off, and my target was 450 to 475 for this chicken that I was cooking. And I cooked it. everything was going fine. And down near the end of the cook, Steven says, put your dome thermometer on there. Steven says, I think you're cooking a lot hotter than you think you are. And I put the thermometer back on there, and it was, just to everybody's surprise, it was at 475, which is what I was trying to be at anyway. I've cooked enough of these things. I can tell by looking at my fire and how hot the outside of the grill is, pretty close to where my temperature is. And if you can get away from worrying about precision temperatures, cooking's so much more fun.
Yep,
It's
absolutely.
yeah. Don't worry about
Put
the
it
temperature.
on, sit back, drink a beer, relax,
The only
watch the
temperature
smoke.
you need to pay attention to is the internal temperature of whatever you're cooking. If you
That's
want to
it.
watch a temperature, watch that one, because that's the one that makes the difference. And I'm not. I really shouldn't encourage people to cook without a thermometer. That's kind of foolish, because you need to know where you are, because you'll be able to repeat your process more consistently if you know where you started and where you finished. There's nothing
But
wrong with
John, with the Kamado, with the way that we set up our Kamados, doing the top vent and the bottom vent, I know I'm within 10 to 15 degrees of anything I set
that. Mhm.
just by knowing how to set those vents.
Well, yeah.
Do you know I'm right on it? I mean, if we've done it enough times,
Well,
if
here's
you
the
look at
deal.
your, if
I
you
It's
learn
funny
to,
that you brought this up, because I played with this today with my
Mhm.
Classic 3 outside. I've got a bag of charcoal that I'm tired of looking at because I don't use it. So I dumped half of it into my Classic 3 and lit it to have some aromatherapy going on while I was playing in the yard today. I set the vents to where I thought I needed to set them for it to land on its own at 250 degrees. So I did, and I went back and looked at it about 2 hours later after it had time to settle down, and it was at 220. And I know from experience that it's not going to stay there, even though it's settled in there. But I went back and looked at it again another 2 hours later. So we're 4 hours in after I've lit it now. It's at two. It's still at 220. 4 hours later. So what do you think it's going to do?
well, I don't know how much charcoal you had in it, but
I had a full basket. I probably had 5 or 6 pounds of lump in there.
well, if you had a full basket, I'm thinking at some point it's going to go up a little bit
Why would it do that?
because it burns down and you have a wider burn area.
Well, at 7 or 8 hours, when I went back and looked at it again, it was up at 250.
Hmm.
Yep. And I haven't looked at it again since. I don't know where it is, because there's enough charcoal in there that it should still be burning in the morning.
Well, I
Yeah.
said that was the nice thing about that connected Joe. I mean, it's
Yeah.
225, and I had 37-hour cook on it at
Yep.
225 full basket. We went down to 160 on it. We cooked 50 plus hours nonstop.
That's the thing. I'm impressed with what I've seen on that connected Joe. I had originally decided that I was going to buy one, and I've since talked myself out of it. I'd still love to have one, but I'm not. I don't think I'm not going to spend the money. But I'm impressed with it. And if there ever comes a time where I need to buy another Kamado, then I'm going to buy that. But that if that thing had run at 160, it would be something I would definitely be more impressed with, because I have trouble getting the Classic 2 or the Classic 3 to run at 160. I haven't played with it enough, maybe, but 160 is a really good temperature for doing cold. I would consider that cold smoking temperatures for fish. That's a good cold smoking temperature for fish or jerky. Uh,
Hmm.
a lot of things. But I don't know. I know there's a shortage of those things. I know they're taking pre-orders on stuff that they don't have inventory on yet. But I had
Well,
decided.
I say some of the stores have them, like Home Depot. You can find them at,
Yeah,
but Atlanta Grill still having an issue getting them.
yeah. That's one of the things that kind of puzzles me. I don't know. I don't know what the relationship is between a premier dealer and Kamado Joe anymore when they're giving priority to the big box stores. That, I don't know. That's the Masterbuilt thing going on right there because Masterbuilt is always big box stores are their bread and butter. So I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't know how that works anymore. Uh, I see you got to see Bobby last week.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
Bobby's doing great. He
yeah.
had double knee replacement.
I sent. He had both of them.
Yeah.
I sent Bobby a text message yesterday because today is Bobby's birthday.
Yep.
Bobby's officially as old as I am today. He and I are the same age, so he's a few months younger than I am. But uh, today's Bobby Brennan's birthday, so wish Bobby a happy birthday if you run across him. Uh,
Yeah, Bobby's a cool dude.
yes, he is. I treasure every moment I spent with Bobby and doing things for and with him. That was a
Got a heart of gold.
that was a true experience. There are very few people on this planet that I respect as much as I respect him. He uh, he really, I don't know, I can't put into words the way I feel about Bobby. My relationship with Bobby was fantastic, and I saw Bobby do a lot of things that I thought were amazing.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe
All
I
right.
should ask Bobby to come on with me live. I bet he would. I'll I don't know what we talk about. We'll have to figure that out.
Hmm. Talk to me offline.
Yeah. So I know Bobby's got his irons in a few fires, but I think I
Yeah.
don't know. It's not something I want to talk about because I know uh, some other things that shouldn't be discussed. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So, all right. Well, y'all have a good evening. We'll be back. I'm not sure when it's going to be yet. We'll see. I appreciate you hanging out with me. And if there's anybody you'd like to see me invite to come on with us, let me know who, and I'll see if I can make it happen. So until then, y'all have a good evening.